Here's the thing. Guilt feels productive, but it rarely is. Because we think, okay, if I feel guilty, I'm not a bad person. I can do better next time. But it's not actually productive. Awareness is harder. It forces us to look upstream at what's actually stealing our patience before we even walk through the door. This isn't a parenting podcast. I've got 6 kids and I'm still in the middle of it. The Dad Tribes podcast is about reflection and perception, taking the weight, pressure, and struggles of fatherhood and changing how we see them so they stop breaking us and start building us. Let's dive in. After this weekend and dealing with a rough toddler, I thought about this and I wanted to share it with all of you. Something that I've realized whenever I'm being impatient with my kids. All right. And here's my belief. Most dads, we don't have an anger problem. We have a patience problem. And most of our guilt as fathers lives right there. Because when we think about the moments we regret most as fathers, it's rarely the big blow ups. It's the tone, it's the short response, it's the times that we say things that we didn't mean to, but we just reacted in the moment. It's that moment when something small just hit us wrong and we showed up a lot sharper than we intended. And that moment stays with us, not just for the day, but for extended periods of time, especially when it starts becoming a consistent thing that we accidentally do every day. See, there's a reason that guilt feels heavier. Anger is loud, patience is quiet. Anger feels like something we can explain, right? It's we have a reason that we got angry. But impatience feels personal because impatience doesn't look like losing control. It looks like failing to be the man we believe we should be at home and we know we're capable of being. So the guilt lingers. We replay it later. We promise ourselves we'll do better next time, and we carry it silently because it feels too small to justify, but too heavy to ignore. Here's the truth that we don't talk about. Those moments don't come out of nowhere, and they don't usually happen when the day is just beginning. They happen normally towards the end, after we've been responsible all day, after we've regulated ourselves for hours, after we've completely absorbed pressure, expectations, and decisions without anyone seeing it, and then it's just one more thing gets added. And patience, the last thing we have holding together, gives out. We talk about patience like it's a personality trait, like some men are just naturally better at it. But patience isn't about being calm. It's all about capacity. It's about how much weight we're carrying before we walk through that door, right? The heavier the load, the thinner our patience gets. And when that capacity is just gone, it doesn't mean we don't care. It usually means we've just been caring all day. When patience runs out, it's not a character flaw. It's a warning light, a signal that something is overloaded. It's not that we're bad dads and it's not that we're failing because we are human, but it's that we're running on fumes and still expecting ourselves to operate like nothing's wrong. And most of us don't respond to that warning light. We just feel guilty for noticing it. All right? If you think about it, we have those two environments we always discuss, work and home, and there's only so much capacity that we spread across both of those, and most of us are working at well above our capacity limit. Here's the part that actually changes things, right? And patience at home usually has very little to do with our kids. It's almost always the last straw, not the original weight. It's not the actual problem. It's the pressure that spills out at home that was already building somewhere else. It was building at work, expectations, unresolved stress we've been carrying quietly, right? Whether it's with our significant other, at work, or wherever. It's just unresolved stress that we're carrying and just not telling anybody about. So when we tell ourselves, I'll do better next time after being impatient with our kids, we're often aiming at the wrong problem. Because until we deal with the weight outside the house that's draining our capacity, we're not actually setting ourselves up to be more patient. We're just hoping we will be. Here's the thing, guilt feels productive, but it rarely is. Because we think, okay, if I feel guilty, I'm not a bad person. I can do better next time. But it's not actually productive. Awareness is harder. It forces us to look upstream at what's actually stealing our patience before we even walk through the door. And that doesn't lower the standard at home. It actually protects it. Here's the deal. If this episode feels uncomfortably accurate, it's not because you're broken, it's simply because you're overloaded and our families are paying the consequences for that overload. Patience isn't something we summon on command. It's something that survives when there's actual margin. And when that margin is gone, the answer isn't just trying harder at home or trying better next time. It's being honest about what's actually quietly draining us elsewhere. It's not because that weight is draining us. There's weight somewhere else that is draining us, which is causing us to be more impatient with our children. And we recorded this episode because this is where most of us dads struggle and where most of us blame ourselves. And maybe the shift isn't from guilt to permission. It's it's from guilt to responsibility. Not just for how we respond, but for what we're carrying. We're not making it okay to be impatient at home. We're just trying to focus on where is that impatience actually coming from, because it's rarely because we just can't handle our kids. Impatience isn't the problem. It's the signal. And signals are meant to be respected. I'll see you tomorrow.